Hello and welcome to the 4WC 2025 match, China versus Saudi Arabia. Of course, China and both Saudi Arabia fighting here for the tournament life. Saudi Arabia had unfortunately had to forfeit here a match versus Canada, but did barely clutch out last week. Getting into the next round, while China had lost last week, unfortunately, very close match, lost in the tiebreaker, I believe. And now it's gonna be for the tournament live here. I'm being joined here by Exia. Exia, how are you doing?
Yeah, we got ourselves a really far-seeded match in the quarterfinals. I mean, you already talked about some of these past matches, like Canada, and then now we're going straight into what we see could possibly be a really close match. I mean, Saudi Arabia, only being C29, has already shown some incredibly consistent showing, even in round of 16, as in winning against let me just go check. Yeah, Saudi Arabia just winning in tiebreaker against Netherlands, which shows that they have the capability to be able to make these kind of runs. But against China, really strong 10 seed is going to prove to be extremely difficult.
Yeah, it's gonna be really difficult here for the Saudis. They have Comey Red, of course, who has been on a carry performance last week, has barely managed to carry them throughout the match to throughout the tiebreaker. So it got really close, but they were able to clutch out, so very respectable. Usually you don't have C29s get into round of 16 in 4WC or quarterfinals maybe. Yeah, or quarterfinals. So it's very respectable, very strong from them. Yet it is, as I said, it's gonna be gonna be difficult for them. We've seen, like, last week Saudi Arabia only had 6 players, China only had 7 players. China was of course playing versus Sweden higher seed and full team as well, so barely lost here on the tiebreaker as far as I can remember. So I think it's gonna be too difficult for just having like one carry, or maybe even the second carry who's 3 BDO, but who has not been able to carry that much last week. It really came down to the Comey Red here, and maybe it's doable if the two of them really show up with all of the power, but it's just very difficult, and if any one of them just like squanders here on any map, this could immediately be stolen away by China.
Yeah, huge things to consider. Saudi Arabia, not a really strong mechanics team. Of course, you have Call Me Red on that side, but the strong performer on that player cannot be enough, as a 4v4 is going to be permitted in these kind of matches. Expecting some kind of bans from DT2, maybe something from DT3, a little bit reading heavy. Number 5 could be another ban for Saudi Arabia, but you're also looking at this kind of like DT pool, not really tapping heavy, honestly. I mean, except for the DT2, which is really not that much of a tapping recommendation for that. It is all just about stamina on that 230 BPM. So Saudi Arabia kind of looks at that. DT3 I've already talked about, but that's mainly the 10.3 AR that kind of makes that a little bit difficult for kind of these bursts, kind of these little bit of strides for a little bit of stamina or speed on that 270 BPM. Saudi Arabia is a team that actually kind of excels at kind of consistency. You got to look at this Hard Rock 1, Hidden 1, Noma 1. Our Hard Rock 1 this time around is a little bit different, as that map has a lot more finger control than the consistency picks that we have. So this is going to be the type of game plan that Saudi Arabia needs to come into this match.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult for them. Like, whenever I look at their scores, especially on harder pools, this is quarterfinals. This is not a round of 42 pool, and some of these players really start to struggle on some kind of maps on this star rating. So we've seen, at least at the very least in qualifiers, like always, having a really weak 4th players in their rosters. It can be quite not good, and it seems like, at least according to chat, Saudi Arabia does not seem to have all players here once again. And I see the main carries here from China are already running here in chats. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult, and I think that Saudi Arabia certainly has a chance here, maybe on the reading picks. Nomad 6, maybe a hidden 2 or any of the hidden maps. I think they certainly have a chance to steal this away from China, especially against China, who is not as strong on hidden picks, it seems like. Yeah, I think that we're just gonna see these bans from China. I would be expecting China just to ban this Nomad 6, just to ban this hidden 2, and Saudi Arabia. I think we've seen last week. Like, I'm not sure if you have checked, but look at the top scores on the DT maps. DT1 China seed 1, DT2 China seed 1, DT3 China seed 1. So it's certainly not something to look forward to for their own team here.
Well, hopefully you get some of your players or most of your full team for this kind of match. I mean, being down a couple of players or being down even one player could mess up a little bit of the momentum, mess up a little bit of the synergy between all your players on some of these maps. But we still haven't gone to the ban phase. We got a pick order, and China with the first ban. Saudi Arabia, I've already talked about, they're really good at consistency. I think it's one of their stronger skill sets. China maybe opting out for this Noma 1, Hidden 1, or DT1 ban. The hard work one is a little bit on the flip side for the figure control. Not that really consistent. It still has the consistency aspect, but so much more finger control in that map. So something like that is in the possibility, unless you want to go ban something that you aren't really strong at. Maybe the hiddens that we've talked about in the quals, you aren't really a strong hidden team. Hidden 1 kind of really RNG for you. A little bit of low rolls, a little bit of high rolls, and that kind of hidden 1 that you've had. Hidden 2, yeah, you are one of the lowest hidden reading players, and especially on this type of map from Jackie, on this Hidden 2, you have lots of back and forths, lots of variable patterns that you need to memorize to be able to hit this kind of Hidden 2. Especially on the 7.8 AR, it makes it way harder. And it goes for the Nomad 3 ban, going for this kind of alt pick. Yes, the Mega Fan map is kind of default. It's really consistent in its difficulty. Basically, the 10 seconds of the map really shows the gist of that entire map. So it's Nomad 3, getting rid of it, and then Saudi Arabia with their DT2 ban as per usual.
Yeah, DT2 makes a lot of sense versus a team like China, who has been excelling on these type of picks, on these type of DTs. We still have more bans. Saudi Arabia, of course, has another ban coming up, but I would be expecting another DT, maybe DT3 or the Nomad 5, very possible as well. Maybe even more likely it's gonna be the Nomad 5, considering that they did ban the DT2 here. Just any moment, team's gonna be taking their time, probably discussing it. And yeah, it's gonna be the Nomad 5 as expected. Next up we have
5. Yeah, Nomad 5 really kickstarter heavy, so shit missable in that map, so it makes sense for most of these maps to get rid of. I mean, your team is not as mechanically strong as China. China has shown that, like, yeah, second seed, I believe, on DT2, or no, DT1 for balls, and then 23 for DT2, but got number 4 on DT3, which shows that they are one of the stronger mechanics teams. I mean, number 8 on Nomad 2, really strong. You also got some Hard Rock plays, you like top 15 for both Hard Rocks. So it makes sense that China goes for this, and they are opting to ban gimmicks. So basically half of the Nomad pool is already gone, which is considered
not
a little
necessarily. I think they banned DT3 and picked gimmicks. So China picking Nomad 6 versus Saudi Arabia, the only pick I would have expected from Saudi Arabia. I think they're about to make a statement here, considering that it's gonna be the first pick.
I definitely misread that. I thought it said ban Nomad 6.
No, I see in the chat, ban DT3 and pick Nomad 6. That's crazy. That's insane. That is something I would not be expecting. I would have expected rather a Nomad 6 ban, but it seems like they're gonna go in strong. I think they're they want to make here a little bit of a statement, maybe want to disprove me here with that number 6 pick. But yeah, it is gonna be that.
I like how the map rules notes say just this tournament fell off, but unfortunately, I mean, what are they doing in the sheeting section? Anyways, this map is going to be at your 7.6 AR, circle size 5. You got some position in there. The reading for this, lots of back and forths. Definitely some perfect stacks in this map. Loads of doubles. You got a little bit of a kind of like a really slow BPM stream, kind of like a 1/3 to be able to hit. The OD10 makes this so hard to act, as the little bit of rhythm, a little bit of the doubles kind of have a little bit of variable in this kind of map. So the key eye is going to be really where the perfect stacks are going to be happening, as those are kind of reading checks if you're able to read this kind of number 6.
Yeah, it's certainly very difficult map. We've always seen extremely low accuracies on this type of map, and yeah, it's a type of low BPM that is very often very uncomfortable for players. 126, usually you feel like you could single tap that for some players, but then once again, it's so dense that the single tap is kind of out of question for most people. Yet once again, with this ult, like, how often do you ult a really dense 126 BPM map? So I think it's quite out of the comfort zone here for most players, despite, of course, all of these players being incredible at their own skills here and at their own mind. But yeah, it's really gonna come down to how long these combos are being held, and especially on the accuracy. We've seen some players get good accuracy, but most of them really struggling. And now we are getting into it. The first map here out of the set, Nomad 6.
Gonna be your rosters, definitely gonna have your cores for this kind of map. I mean, of course, for Saudi Arabia, you're definitely gonna have Be Call Me Red, definitely gonna have Zoomer Cat. For the subbing in, you got Eisner Open, Mercuria, as well as LOL 235, Z9, and XZ1, and Fujiwara. Yeah, these we're gonna call them Z, we're gonna call them X, we're gonna call them LOL.
Well, yeah, one of them I always keep C numbers. I think you could guess who it is. And yeah, both of the teams starting off strong. 2 breaks here from the Chinese side. You can see Requia, and that is exactly what I was talking about previously. It seems like they're always missing a 4th player, and this time it's gonna be Requia, like, being the 4th player, just struggling massively. Eyes Never Open also struggling here quite a lot. The score advantage already going massively for China right at the beginning, and it looks so shaky for Saudi Arabia. They're already almost doubling the score here.
I mean, double the score. 200k in the lead, 428k for China in the team score. Still with the 3 FCs, especially Saudi Arabia, none on the board right now. You still got some combos building up by Korea. Want to find a little bit of break right there. It's going to stunt that little advantage that they had with the combo, but that's going to disappear quickly with Zumbercat, and it's just falling all apart for Saudi Arabia. I mean, this map, you could already see the accuracies. A huge difference. I mean, it's 67% on Saudi Arabia. China with 3 FCs of their own, but really low AC, 90%. No one in the A rank zone, or the S rank zone, I say. But the 3 FCs keeping it strong. The multiplier is what it matters for these combos, and it's keeping China about almost double Saudi Arabia. I mean, it is double Saudi Arabia's score. So China just already a blow out the water kind of performance here.
Absolutely, and yeah, just look at the score difference, and China more than double of the score of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia just not being able to get any scores on their field. Requia with 31,000. That is just not enough, and it seems like they really are here out of players. Not once again, maybe their whole roster is missing out here a little bit. And yeah, what can you say? China still 3 FCs, by the way. Very, very solid performance. Eyes Never Open on the recovery here for Saudi Arabia. Call Me Red just right behind, but against that many FCs on the Chinese side, even if they had like a big massive comeback and China kind of fell apart, I still think this would not be enough. And once again, 2 more breaks on their side and China still holding strong.
Gonna be the first pick for China, slotted into their win slot. 1-0 for China is gonna be the scoreline already, and you're already looking. It's already a blowout performance. There's nothing to worry about. It's no mod 6. You do not have all 4 players for it. You're getting a little 4-player diff on this kind of map, so it's something to brush off really quickly, as you know, it is their pick. It is something that they're expected to win. So if you are Saudi Arabia, we've already talked about it. Consistency is something you are very comparable to China, something that you are a little bit stronger than China. So if we're looking at the future of this map, future of this match, you're looking at kind of like that Noma 1 angle, DT1 angle. Also, this hidden 1, really awkward for China. They are one of the weakest hidden teams in this quarterfinals, kind of weak. So Saudi Arabia, looking at these kind of maps, very possible for them to gain a point over that.
Yeah, China did lose eventually these 2 FCs, but Fujiwara and Nomoko holding all the way through, and with this 87% A rank, UFC and you get 680,000. It's just that difficult to act this map, but very solid performance nonetheless from all the Chinese people here. Every single player on the Chinese side outperforming even the strongest players from Saudi Arabia here. But this has been the first pick here for China. Saudi Arabia still has a few picks. I would be expecting something like the hidden maps. I would not be expecting something like a hard rock. China, of course, is very strong on these hard rocks. Or maybe Saudi Arabia might be playing hard rock too. I can't see them play that. I think Saudi Arabia is good on the precision here. It's hard to guess here what is gonna come. No DTs almost certainly. Seem to not want to play that against China. Does make a lot of sense. It's gonna be the Noma 2 here. So tapping we go. Not the high BPM, but the low BPM. Very difficult maps. Changes style completely midway through. Starting out with pretty basic streams here at the beginning. Towards the middle it gets more techy with these bus sliders, and towards the end you have these very cutting streams that are for all the people who have seen maps like Einone, some very known map. It's pretty much like that at the end. It's super difficult to hit. That's where we see most breaks. And let's see if Saudi Arabia is going to be able to pull through here. It has some kind of carry potential.
Potential's there. You got the players. You have the skills. Still mod 2. It's all about the flow. Not a lot of aim requirement for this kind of map. For these kind of jumps. Yeah, they've said about the bus sliders, especially that these kind of bus sliders, especially combo breaking as well, as they are kind of these kind of choke points because of this section, and especially in the mid part of the map, which is really score cappable. And especially if you miss in the middle of the map, you are going to be score capped out of your score. Possibly like a third of your score is going to be gone. Like 600k is probably going to be your max if you miss exactly in the middle. Still a couple of loadings on the screen, a little bit of connection issues, but we'll get right into that. Just Bancho having a little bit of problems here and there, but it's going to be China with the advantage for 1-0. I expect this to go either way. If I really wanted to favor a team, it is China, considering that they are one of the stronger Noma 2 teams in this entire tournament. But Saudi Arabia, considering them picking this kind of map, it is lower BPM, it is a lot more flow requirements, so expecting to see a lot more better scores from them is not going to be a surprise.
Absolutely. Flow aim is generally something that almost all 4-digit can play to some extent. This star rating should still be doable for most of them, and if we see the first breaks here Eisner will open, of course, at the very beginning, but does not matter that much. JJ on the side of China breaking. So slight advantage here for Saudi Arabia. That's a good start here, but they have to keep holding through. Bus Laters, as you said, are certainly a possibility to break. I think Bus Laters section is, in my opinion, even one of the easier parts, especially towards the end. But here we see once again Requia breaking and being traded by whoever that is. But here the break here from Saudi Arabia, one eyes never open, not gonna be good. Sumakot now falling. It's only Call Me Red versus these two FCs and the one recovery combo from China.
1 to 2 FCs in favor of China. Call Me Red needs to pick it up in these bus slider sections, especially people are still breaking on these kind of bus slider sections, but the flow requirement is going to become extremely needed for this kind of map now. And as we arrive to the last third of the map, it's going to have to take a little bit of a toll in the speed of this kind of map. But as soon as we get to the last drop, especially the spacing gets a lot more harder. And here we go. It is going to be build up. Still got the 2 FCs for China. Call Me Red with the FC for Saudi Arabia. Needs to keep holding. You need to pray for China's both FCs to drop here. You still got a little bit of linear stream. Still got a little bit of flow. But this is the drop that I've been talking about. A lot of stacks. A lot of flow in this kind of section. These linear streams can take anyone apart. But it is going to be the drop from Z9, and it's going to be a 1v1 for the win right here, but it doesn't look like LOL235 is going to drop. The break point is going to be cemented for Saudi Arabia, China, and Saudi Arabia is going to drop this Nomad 2 as expected in the qual results showcasing.
Yeah, but it has gotten quite close. At 275 points, if Lolol had broken at like any point of the map, this could have immediately went towards Saudi Arabia's side. Call Me Red really doing a big score here, 900,000 on his side. But just the supporting combos of his teammates just were not enough. For China, like I have to say, for China, like the bottom 2 scores are not very strong either, especially the B rank on their side. But these 2 carry performances are just making the difference here. This amount of carries that China seems to have, making a big difference here.
It's gonna be an instant Frima 2 pick, so it's gonna be one of those maps where anti-mod. You're gonna expect some low AR hidden. You're gonna expect the precision from the hard rock. If you're looking at these kind of maps, it's an emotional one, as we say in the map pool notes. But in this kind of map, you are having these kind of consistency. You have these kind of like cuts in these triples. It's a little bit of a normal map, I'd say. The burst can be a little bit of a reading hell for the hidden players, especially for the harder players. The precision will make this kind of map a little bit difficult because of these kind of sliders and these kind of like cuts into these triples. But nothing to say to less, I think this map pretty consistent for its being free mod 2. First 30 seconds, I think you can just get the idea of what this map is.
Yeah, certainly it is the anti-mod CS5 Air 8. We're gonna see at least one harder, at least one hidden, and the third mod is to be determined. I think both teams are gonna be having the rosters for this kind of map, but it's a very standard map in terms of BPM at the very least. And we're gonna see that very soon. We see Fujiwara Nomoku, who has been playing historically easy. We'll see if that's going to happen once again. LOL235 once again staying in. And one of the Chinese players just not wanting to connect to, at least the name doesn't want to connect at the very least into the lobby.
The other LOL.
It's gonna be the other LOL, okay. Yeah, I think it's the other LOL is Burger Fox. So yeah, we are getting into it. See numbers: LOL235 and LOL234. Fujiwara Nomoku on that easy as expected. Where is the Saudi Arabia? Requia, Hard Rock, Sumercat hidden. Call Me Red on that hidden as well with Eyes Never Open on the no mods. I think this might get closer, maybe. Well, not how this starts.
A little bit of advantage for the side of China. I mean, we already have a couple of breaks for Saudi Arabia, especially on Call Me Red, one of the huge carries. It's going to drop that FC. You still got 3 FCs on China. A little bit of a drop from Law 235, but all 234 still on the bottom left, which is your loading player, is going to be in for the Hard Rock. And it's still continuing to short on this map. I mean, this map is literally less than 2 minutes. We're already down 1/3 of the map, and we're already seeing a huge advantage for China.
Yeah, that is quite the advantage already set early on. Although that early on is well said. Half of the map is already done, but the combos are. At least the combo is building on the side of Fujiwara no Moku. Everybody else is kind of struggling a little 2-3-5 now. The second person here with the recovery combo. But it's all eyes here on Fujiwara no Moku, who's still SS-ing with that easy. Doing God's work, it seems like. Score difference already 500k. I think that already guarantees it for the Chinese side with no combos on the Saudi Arabia side. But the big question is now, is he going to hold? No, unfortunately not. Nonetheless, still a very strong score from him here. But yeah, once again, China just completely stealing this away here from Saudi Arabia.
It's going to be another win for China, and as the trajectory for them is continuing to skyrocket. Saudi Arabia still has to find the map, has to find a bit of gold in this kind of mine. It's a little difficult as China just outscores you on a lot of these maps. I mean, consistency, we've already been talking about it a lot. I am surprised that that hasn't been a aspect that's already been picked into this kind of match right here. I mean, Saudi Arabia, you got good consistency players. You have Call Me Red, you have kind of a Recruria, you have Eyes Never Open. This is basically the core 4 for these kind of like maps, with the consistency for this kind of normal one, the hidden one, the DT1 is possibly going to be your next pick. I mean, I think they're trying to avoid it since they don't feel really good on kind of aim. Maybe it all depends how you feel. I mean, they've been picking the kind of tapping maps. I mean, that Nomad 2 map was picked. You ban Nomad 5 and DT2, which is basically most of the mechanics gone. DT4 is a really consistent map. I mean, DT4 just shows literally jumps and bursts. That's basically the entirety of that map. It really shows in the first 30 seconds of that map. So if you are Saudi Arabia, I'd opt for any of these aim picks.
Yeah, I think aim is the only way to go here, and they're gonna go for this Nomad 1. The tiebreaker, that is not a tiebreaker. 6 minutes of pure aim. Has some spikes here, especially like the last few jumps completely going crazy. Towards 2/3 of the map, it starts getting very streamy, essentially turning into a stream map here for like half a minute or 1 minute before going back into the aim. And a very classical of the map. I think a lot of players here have played this already or have seen it at the very least. Very known map.
Yeah, it's going to be one of our longer maps. Pretty generic 207 BPM jump map. Nothing too special about this map. I think that's what you're going to see in a consistency map. Basically, into the last third of the map, it literally becomes a stream map at 207 BPM. So if you are expecting just jumps for this entire number 1, the second third will show you wrong. Or excuse me, the last third of this map will basically just turn into a stream map. And I think that's one of the huge aspects of this map. That's basically where the score cap is going to come from. If you aren't able to hit these kind of streams, I think they are kind of relatively comparable to our Nomad 2 here. But especially in this high BPM, it is going to be a little bit more difficult, a little bit more space. I mean, excuse me, a little bit less space for this kind of 207 BPM. But it is going to be that stream section where a lot of players score cap themselves due to the fact that these kick sliders especially are very shit missable. So this number 1, it's going to kick up already. You're already going to see the consistency kick in. The key eyes especially going to have these longer strain of jumps that are going to be really difficult to hit if you aren't really focused in these kind of consistency maps. So number 1, China up 3-0. Let's see how this goes, Florian.
Yeah, certainly. It looks like a very, very dominant match here for the Chinese side, but maybe the aim pick, maybe this long consistency pick is gonna be the difference maker. But I don't know, if I went into the aim, I might not be sure if I wanted to go into a 6-minute map here against such a consistent and strong roster China here with all their carry players, both LOL, C numbers and 970. All of these players are very consistent on these type of maps. Despite having this very early break, it does not matter that much. This combo is over 2000 on this map. And yeah, combos are building now. I would say it's really important that you hold early on, because this map only gets more difficult. And as you said, the stream section here at 2/3 of the map, that will not be throughout the entire end of the map. There will be enough of an aim part after that as well. But it's gonna be a lot more difficult than the beginning, the first 1200, 1300 combos that are almost free really, before it really starts picking up with 1 or 2 like peaky section in between.
6 minutes of play time, 5 minutes and 30 seconds of drain time. Already a miss on LOL, 2, 3, 4. So that's gonna be a really big dent in China's score, as that is a quarter through the map. Still got a lot of score potential from them, so watch out for them. Abdul Malik will find a miss right there in this kind of key eye section, and especially in 1/3 of the map. It's going to be a little bit of a huge score cap. That's a huge note lock. It's going to diminish that score by quite a bit. Saudi Arabia with the combo advantage, but especially if China is building up the supporting combo, especially the reverse choke from LOL 235, there's going to be a little bit of damage happening. Everyone with the S ranks, the only A rank in the lobby is Abdul. But Saudi Arabia with the advantage here, still 3 FCs against the 2 with the reverse choke. But the supporting combos that are going to be able to build from China are going to be very dangerous in the future run. Basically, the same thing is going to happen for the next 2 minutes of this map until we get to the last third of the map, into that stream kind of esque map. But Saudi Arabia in the driver's seat.
Yeah, in the driver's seat, but so close. Look at the score. It's not even changing. In fact, it is slightly going towards on the side of China, with Abdul Malik on this lower combo. And not only that, the accuracy, 96%. That is not an act you want to be at. It's gonna be the next one is to break here from the Chinese side though. 970 being the next one to break. No answers here from the Saudi side. Now we've got a chance on their hand. They really could be stealing this away. They just have to keep holding. That is what is important with this consistency. But this map is not giving any breaks. It keeps going strong, and it's only getting more difficult. We are getting to the first really more difficult part of the map, and it's gonna be 2 breaks here on the side of Saudi Arabia. Only 1 FC left on Call Me Red, the main carry, but it's not gonna be enough on it for him alone. Still 1 FC also on the side of China with this really big recovery combo, with no answer from this recovering combo from 2 recoveries combos, in fact, with no answers from Saudi Arabia here.
We are getting close to the stream section I've been talking about. This is going to be where the big combo breaks are going to be happening. And here we go, the stream section right into it. You still got the FC from Call Me Red. You got huge combos on China. LOL 234 finding a little bit of break right there. It's going to be huge score cap from him on his side. But Z980 keep going with this FC to combat Saudi Arabia's kind of comeback here. Call Me Red was still with the FC. A little bit of a more space section here for streams, a little bit more stamina heavy, as these kind of kicks and sliders will get your combo kicked out. But Call Me Red, that's the break, that's the combo that needs to hold, but is unfortunately going to drop to the stream section. And unfortunately, it was a cider break to a back and forth for a buzz slider. So China still with the FC on LOL 235. The reverse choke from him is continuing to shred through this map, and China another break point in the horizon, and it is going to be a 4-0 for them, as Saudi Arabia just continues to crumble in these kind of late sections of the map.
Yeah, certainly not happy here in Saudi Arabia. Sumakat especially pissed, it seems like. Requia here on the recovery combo, but it's just not enough. You need more than that. No combos on the rest of the team. Well, China is once again having 3 players here slightly recovering. And this score, and as you said, on LOL 235 on this recovery combo, this really big one with the reverse choke, essentially, just doing such a good job course. There's still a lot more aim section here to come, especially towards the end, but with the 370,000 combo score, I mean, advantage here. I think this is fair to say this is gonna be safe here for the Chinese side, going into the 4-0 here on the side of on the pick of Saudi Arabia, on their own pick now as the next map. I'm just really looking out now who's gonna be picking, who's gonna be hitting all these cross screen jumps that are coming up any moment, and Saudi Arabia should be thinking about their next pick now.
Jump section absolutely brutal. I mean, that's gonna be amazing.
And Lolo hits it.
That's a crazy score. 900k as a reverse choke. Beautiful stuff from them. Trying up 4-0, and Saudi Arabia is down in the dumps for this quarterfinals loser bracket match.
Yeah, not the way they wanted it to go, and with China leading 4-0 and having the pick now on their side, it's looking bleak here for the side of Saudi Arabia. It's not even Call Me Red here who has had the strongest score here on their side. I believe it was it was Rikri. Oh, never mind, Call Me Red did have the highest score as always, but it was pretty close. So they're very supporting combos here, but you need more than 280,000 on players like Abdul Malik.
We have an alt map. An alt map is going to be picked into Fremont 3 for China, especially when they ban Omar 3, the other alt map in this pool, and going into Fremont 3, this kind of alt map. It is kind of comparable in these kind of skill sets. I mean, this map, loads of kick sliders, so many of them happening in these kind of alt sections. I think they just happen every single time that there is a note, so really shit missable as these kick sliders happen really fast. The Ki is really consistent in their difficulty, and especially in the kind of little verses, it doesn't really show the difficulty of this map, but if you see the Ki, I think that's going to really show what the consistency of this entire map really is.
Yeah, certainly not looking good here for Saudi Arabia. I am very worried that Saudi Arabia might not have a full roster here once again. We've seen it almost every map, just not having these four like well-performing players, but it's always like just like two players who are well-performing, maybe a third one. Most of the time not even that. And with China and how well they've been playing, how well versed they are, and it being their own pick, they for sure having these four players is looking once again very, very dangerous. This might not be a tough climb, this might be a complete mountain climb here. This is I don't know how Saudi Arabia is going to pull this back.
Going through an alt map is going to be kind of difficult. You have a lot of variables on kind of mods. The hidden especially is going to be a little bit difficult with these kind of kick sliders. Loads of 1-6 sprinkled into this kind of map does really happen in the kind of like ends of beats or on the 4 of beats. I think you're really expecting that. This is not something I was expecting from China. What? Okay, so
two easies here. Big balls play.
I see. I mean, the multiplier for this easy is a whopping 2.8 multiplier, which is absolutely huge. And you could already see it being played into effect for China. I mean, it's already 35k in the lead. Nobody has dropped any combo, but the easy multipliers are just keeping it so strong in the lead that it's literally so strong. It's just 2.8 multiplier. It's going to be a little bit of a crazy ending kind of thing for this kind of map. So it's going to be a miss from Fujiwara, but that's going to be a huge multiplier in the end. As 87k in the beginning with no drops from Saudi Arabia. And here we go into the Ki.
Yeah, we see the next break here once again from an easy on the Chinese side, but it doesn't seem like the score is changing at all, especially with that break here on the side of Saudi Arabia as well. 2 FCs still on the side of China, 2 FCs now only left on the side of Saudi Arabia, but these easy really showing what they can do. Requia on the 85% accuracy, this is not what you want from your players. Next person to break here, it's only Call Me Red left on the side of Saudi Arabia trying to carry this through, but it's just not enough. We need more than one player than for Saudi Arabia. China once again. So 2, 3, 4. It does break eventually. Still 1 FC for the Chinese side, but of this 200,000 score advantage, it's gonna be a bit of a harsh one here for Call Me Red. Certainly not out of it. Has still a chance to steal this away. Has still a chance to absolutely carry this through, but would need to absolutely crush this map to completely beat them down, and China needs to break more if they want to give if Saudi Arabia wants to have any semblance of a chance here.
Looking really grim. I mean, you have just 1 FC currently combating 1 FC, and especially the easier multiplier is not making this any easier for Saudi Arabia. None of your players are grabbing any solid combo. You have a Hard Rock player in the 85%, as well as Zoomercat is grabbing loads of breaks, but that's definitely the nail in the coffin. Call Me Red, 1 drop is all it takes for the main carry to essentially lose the entire map. I mean, there's really nothing you can do. 4 strong players on the side of China with a whopping 2.8 multiplier. I mean, that multiplier is possibly going to be used or abused in a couple of these matches in the future. China does have a future match for this, so they're definitely, if they're going to be playing this map again, they're definitely going to be trying to use this kind of strategy with this kind of 3x3 easy multiplier. And especially with an FC from Z980, I mean, everything's just looking good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. See numbers going really strong here, 98.7%, even like out-acting the strongest player of Saudi Arabia by quite a margin as well. All of the players here from the side of China kind of completely outperforming here every single person except Call Me Red on their side. But yeah, it is as a feared here at the beginning. Call Me Red, of course, very strong carry potential. But even if Call Me Red FC'd every map, it wouldn't make a difference really. 800, 900,000 score difference, especially on these type of easies. Kind of brutal. Ending up here on a 1 million score advantage for the Chinese side, and I don't know. It doesn't seem like any plans, any chances here for the Saudi side, and it's gonna be their pick. But this might also be the last pick with how these maps have been going for so far.
Kai FC the side stream on Fremont 3. What a crazy thing I just saw. That side of stream is absolutely insane. That thing is an abomination to look at. China 5-0. Great standings for them. Saudi Arabia next pick. The chance to grab a point at least in this quarterfinals. You are down essentially a forced tiebreaker kind of situation. But there is still picks for you to be able to gain. I mean, the number 1 didn't go your way. You had an FC coming in from, or reverse show coming in from LOL 235. And essentially, Hidden 1's still open. China's still one of the weaker hidden teams. And especially yourselves, you are a little comparable to them. I mean, the Hiddens, you have a lot more comparable scores for the Hiddens on the quals. Lots of maps to pick. Maybe a DT1 is a little bit risky for that kind of stuff. A lot of the more skill set heavy maps are still in the pool. You have that Nomad Fun. Nomad 4. I still have the Hard Rock 3 and Hidden 3, especially in these kind of like tech kind of orientated maps. Hidden 2 and Hard Rock 2, especially the kind of
Hard Rock 2 might be it.
Yeah, Hard Rock 2 might be it. You got that kind of alt Hard Rock map.
So China banned the Nomad 3, so they didn't want to play this type of map, and Hard Rock 2 certainly might be it, but it's gonna be the Fremont 1 here for the side of Saudi Arabia. 220 BPM, Air 9 OD9, so it's a very standard Fremont 1, the higher BPM here. Might not have been a bad idea. I think they will be performing quite well on this. This might be a potential first point here. This is certainly a map that they could steal away, but it is also a map you could easily ship miss on. So hard to see how this one is gonna go.
Yeah, this map, a little bit of banger. Nomads are going to have that AR9 hidden, especially on that AR9. It's going to make a little bit of a reading difficulty for them. Hard Rock's especially going to be at the 5.5 circle size with this 4.2 circle size on the default OD9 for the hidden players and Nomad players, which is no lock territory. A little bit of it. 3 minutes and 11 seconds to be able to play this map. 6.67 star rating, but don't shy away from that SR, as that is pretty much deceiving, as this kind of map is really burst heavy. This map is a lot more awkward than our Nomad 1 and hidden. I mean, our Nomad 1 that we just saw. Loads of kind of really slow, really close back and forth, a lot of linear kind of stuff, and especially these bursts in the intro or in the key eyes that are especially really shit missable are an aim requirement. These triples kind of go back and forth if it permits it. The sliders have perfect stacks. This map is kind of mapped in this old map styling skill set. So 3x1, Saudi Arabia going for it. You're still going to have your kind of core 4 for Saudi Arabia. I mean, China, it's definitely going to have the wagon in. Definitely going to have LOL 235 as well as the other LOL. And Z980 is just having it fun on these kind of aim picks.
Absolutely. We see 2 hard works here, 1 hidden on the side of China. With Lolo 235 on the Nomad. 2 hidden on the side of Saudi Arabia and 1 hard work. A bit of a different setup here. AR9 hidden, of course, a lot easier than the AR8 hidden, and I think all these players should be able to have a okay time. Sumercat and C numbers trading to each other, but Sumercat certainly losing out here. Another break here, 2 breaks here more on the side of Saudi Arabia. It's once again only Call Me Red here with the FC here. Still a lot of time to come back from, but certainly not a good start, starting right into the map with 100,000 points deficit.
It's going to be smooth sailing for China here. You still got 3 FCs on the board, especially a reverse choke from the Z980. Call Me Red is just against an entire titan of a team currently with these kind of 3x1. You can already see the bursts are absolutely devastating on this kind of 220 BPM. Really happens a lot. Dragon can find the drop. Trading out with Sumercat is still favors China in the end. Has not a lot of combo on the side of Saudi Arabia, apart from the FCs and apart from a combined FC from Eyes Never Open and Korea. It's going to be a break from 2-3-4, but it is going to be still an advantage towards China, as no combos are still able to combat these kind of combos.
Yeah, absolutely. We see 2 recovering combos here, and that miss here from Dragon makes it a little bit more possible for a comeback, but not that miss here from Call Me Red. That is a huge problem here for the side of Saudi Arabia. No big combos here, only a bit of a recovering combo on that Hardrock and Requia, but shaking here quite a bit, eventually falling here as well. No combos left on the side of Saudi Arabia. And despite that miss here from Lolo 234, it does not matter, because we still got C numbers and Lolo 235 going strong here, going into these big combos. And 600,000 point advantage, 2/3 into the map in. No answers from Saudi Arabia. This seems like almost won already by the side of China.
Gonna be a quick 6-0 for the second match of our Saturday. Unfortunate for Saudi Arabia to be able to try and grab a point here, but against 2 FCs on China, or excuse me, reverse choke, and an FC from China on the Nomad from LOL 235. It's just impossible to overcome. No combo. 6-0 on the day. Really swift here. I think China's next match still has to be decided. I think it is going to be, no, it is going to be China versus Finland. 10 seed versus 15 seed. So that's going to be an incredibly interesting match to see. That is going to be Sunday 14 UTC, commentated by MP and Nev on that Sunday. And for China to get that 6-0, really confident booster, really going to be the momentum booster for this kind of round 2 of this quarterfinals losers bracket for you.
Once again, doubling the score from Saudi Arabia, 3 million versus 1.4 million. Really, that score says a lot about this matchup, and very unfortunate match here for Saudi Arabia. They still tried their best. Very respectable for them here to make it here to this quarterfinals here. I think they can be proud of themselves. Unfortunately, it seems like 3BDO, who was the second main carry here from the Saudi Arabia team, was not able to make it to this match. Nonetheless, China going, as you said, into the next one. In just a moment, we'll have another match here coming up for the two of us. We'll stay here commentating. We'll stay here having a good time. It's gonna be... Totally did not forget. It's gonna be Taiwan versus Spain. Just a moment. Just after this short break, we'll be right back.